You know the feeling. The alarm goes off. You know exactly what you need to do, but your body refuses to cooperate. The tasks sit there, important but untouched, while you scroll through your phone or stare blankly at the wall. We've all blamed this on laziness, weak willpower, or character flaws. But neuroscience reveals a radically different story. Motivation isn't a personality trait. It's a neurochemical state that you can learn to engineer. Welcome to the science of dopamine and how understanding this single molecule can transform your ability to take action. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but that's misleading. Dopamine isn't really about enjoying things. It's about wanting things. It's the neurochemical that makes you move, pursue goals, and take action. When dopamine surges in your brain's reward circuits, you feel driven, focused, and capable. When it's depleted, even simple tasks feel insurmountable. This isn't weakness, it's biochemistry. The key brain structure here is the reward system, a network centered on the ventral tegmental area, nucleus accumbens, and prefrontal cortex. These regions communicate using dopamine as their primary messenger. When you anticipate a reward, whether that's finishing a project, eating a meal, or achieving a goal, dopamine floods these pathways, creating the sensation we call motivation. Here's the fascinating part. Dopamine responds more strongly to the expectation of reward than to the reward itself. Stanford researchers demonstrated this elegantly. When test subjects knew they'd definitely receive a reward, dopamine spiked moderately. But when the reward was uncertain, maybe 50% likely, dopamine skyrocketed. This is why slot machines are addictive, and why uncertain outcomes keep us engaged far more than guaranteed successes. Your brain evolved this way for good reason. In our ancestral environment, motivation needed to peak during pursuit when you're tracking prey or searching for food, not after you've already eaten. The anticipation drives the hunt. Modern life exploits this mercilessly. Social media notifications, video game achievements, and variable reward schedules in apps all trigger dopamine spikes that hijack motivation systems designed for survival. But we can use these same mechanisms intentionally. One of the most powerful insights from behavioral science is that action creates motivation more reliably than motivation creates action. We have the sequence backwards. You don't need to feel motivated to starting. Generates the feeling of motivation through a phenomenon called task engagement or work excitement. The 2-minute rule leverages this perfectly. Instead of committing to running 5 miles or writing an entire report, commit only to putting on running shoes or opening the document. Just 2 minutes. What happens neurologically is that beginning the behavior activates your prefrontal cortex and reward system simultaneously. Dopamine starts flowing, attention focuses, and suddenly the full task seems achievable. Cambridge research confirms that neural activation at task initiation predicts completion far better than pre-task motivation levels. Breaking large goals into tiny milestones serves a similar function. Harvard Business School's research on the progress principle found that perceiving daily progress, even small, wins is the strongest driver of sustained motivation. Each mini-achievement triggers a small dopamine release. These accumulate, creating what researchers call a positive feedback loop, where success breeds motivation, which drives more success. Critically, dopamine responds to progress detection, not just completion. This means recording what you've done, tracking workouts, marking completed tasks, visualizing advancement literally changes your brain chemistry. A University of California study showed that people who visualized their progress had 40% higher continuation rates than those who didn't. Why? Because each time you see the progress, you get a tiny dopamine reward, reinforcing the behavior that created it. Timing matters enormously. Dopamine systems are sensitive to immediacy. The longer the delay between action and feedback, the weaker the motivational signal. This is why video games are so engaging. They provide constant, immediate feedback. You can apply this principle by creating instant feedback loops in your life. After studying, immediately check comprehension with a quiz. After exercising, immediately record the data. The temporal proximity strengthens the neural association between behavior and reward. But here's where things get complicated. Modern digital environments are destroying our natural dopamine regulation. Every notification, scroll, and click provides a micro hit of dopamine. Your brain adapts to this flood by downregulating dopamine. Receptors essentially becoming less sensitive to normal rewards. This is why after hours on social media, reading a book or doing actual work feels unbearably boring. It's not that these activities lack value. It's that your reward threshold has been artificially elevated. Research from Stanford shows that frequent smartphone users exhibit significantly reduced ability to sustain attention on low-stimulation tasks. Their brains have recalibrated to require constant novelty and variable rewards. Essentially, they've developed a mild addiction pattern where everyday activities no longer produce adequate dopamine to motivate behavior. The solution isn't eliminating technology, it's managing dopamine ecology. Think of your daily life as a dopamine budget. High-intensity rewards, social media, video games, sugary foods rapidly deplete your capacity to respond to moderate rewards. If you start your day with Instagram and donuts, your brain won't respond adequately to the moderate rewards of productive work. But if you front-load your day with meaningful challenges, before accessing high dopamine activities, you maintain sensitivity. Sleep plays an underappreciated role in dopamine regulation. During deep non-REM sleep, dopamine receptors reset, restoring sensitivity for the next day. Pennsylvania research showed that just 5 days of 4-hour sleep reduced dopamine D2 receptor binding substantially, with corresponding decreases in motivation and decision-making. Chronic sleep deprivation essentially creates a neurochemical environment similar to mild depression. Your reward system stops responding normally. Nutrition matters too. Dopamine synthesis requires the amino acid tyrosine, which comes from protein-rich foods. It also needs vitamin B6, folate, and iron as cofactors. Deficiency in any of these nutrients directly impairs dopamine production. This is why people on very low-protein diets often report low energy and motivation. They're literally unable to manufacture adequate dopamine. Exercise might be the most reliable dopamine intervention available. Moderate aerobic activity increases dopamine concentrations in the striatum and prefrontal cortex. Multiple studies confirm that regular exercisers show enhanced reward system, responsiveness, and higher baseline motivation. The effect isn't just acute, the neurochemical benefits persist, essentially resetting your motivational thermostat to a higher level. Chronic stress demolishes dopamine function through multiple mechanisms. Stress hormones activate the amygdala, while suppressing prefrontal and nucleus accumbens activity. This directly reduces dopamine synthesis and release. National Institutes of Health Research found that chronically stressed individuals showed reduced dopamine D2 receptor density, meaning even when dopamine is present, their brains can't respond adequately. This manifests as anhedonia, the inability to experience pleasure or motivation from normally rewarding activities. Environmental design can make motivation automatic rather than effortful. Your environment constantly cues behavior. If your running shoes are visible by the door, you're more likely to run. If your phone is on your desk, you're more likely to check it. These cues trigger dopamine micro-releases that bias behavior. By intentionally structuring your environment, placing desired behavior triggers prominently, removing undesired behavior. Cues, you reduce the motivational energy required for action. Habit stacking leverages existing dopamine pathways. When behaviors become habitual, dopamine signaling shifts from the action itself to the environmental cue that triggers it. MIT research tracking habit formation in animals showed dopamine release moving from post-behavior to pre-behavior as habits solidified. This means established habits require minimal motivation. The cue itself triggers the dopamine that drives action. By linking new desired behaviors to existing habits, after my morning coffee, I'll write for 10 minutes. You piggyback on established neural pathways. Here's the empowering conclusion. Motivation is a skill, not a trait. It's a neurochemical state you can learn to create through strategic behavior. You don't wait for motivation. To strike, you engineer the conditions that produce it. Small actions trigger dopamine, which enables larger actions, which produce achievement, which reinforces the behavior. This creates an upward spiral where action begets motivation begets more action. If you found this exploration of motivation neuroscience valuable, please like this video and subscribe for more science-based strategies for optimizing your brain and behavior. Thanks for watching. And remember, you don't find motivation, you create it, one small, dopamine-triggering action at a time.